Okay, let's see. How do you know if you come off intimidating? Why do women still get F boys' attention when they present themselves in a respectable way? Well, that's actually a really good question. All right. No matter what you do, you're gonna get attention from fuck boys. Period. Period. No matter what you do. You can't stop yourself from getting attention from the wrong types of people. It's only whether or not you get your attention from the right types of people. Because most of the time, the people that you're really calling fuck boys, that's everybody. It's just how they're treating you in that situation and what you're willing to put up with. So most of the time, I'm going to be 100% real with you. Most of the time, you might be real respectable. You might seem like a really nice person and be cool. But most of the time, when all you're attracting is a lot of that, real cocky, negative type of energy, what's normally happening is the way that you carry yourself isn't intimidating, isn't off-putting to somebody who doesn't care. But it a lot of times is off-putting to somebody who is really invested in talking to you. See, I work with guys and girls. And one of the things that you're going to see over and over and over again, especially you ladies, one of the things you're going to see over and over and over again is the guys who are most invested in you are going to have the most nervousness when dealing with you or trying to talk to you. The guys who are the least invested are going to be the ones who are going to come up most of the time and kick game, talk to you, big smile on their face, and say all the right things. So you have to make sure, if you want to attract people who are really invested, who really like you a lot, who putting you up on a pedestal, you have to make sure that you do keep that smile on your face. You got to make sure that you do scope and look for interest. I know some of y'all don't want to do no work. I get it. But you got to make sure that you're scoping and looking for interest. Because when somebody is really interested in you, you got to look at it from this perspective. I'm going to do it like this. Say you looking for a job, right? And it's your dream job. It's the one you always wanted. It's like, this is my dream. You're telling me you're not going to go to the interview and your palms not going to sweat a little bit. Your throat not going to be a little bit dry. You're not going to be a little bit hesitant. You're going to be sitting by the phone waiting like, oh man, I hope they call me. Oh man, I hope they don't. You know what I mean? Of course you're going to be like that because you really want the job. You're holding it on a pedestal. It's important to you. But when it's just a job, like, remember when you was young or whatever, you was getting them little jobs for the summertime and you were like, look, I'm just trying to get enough to go on spring break. I'm just trying to get enough to get my car, get my little car insurance, whatever get a cell phone, whatever it is you're trying to do. Your palms wasn't sweating. Your throat wasn't dry when you went to the interview. You was like, they don't hire me here. I can sweep up floors anywhere. You didn't really care. So that's one of those things that you got to understand when you present yourself in public. You have to actually be cognizant of what's happening and look for interest in people that you would be interested in. So if you see somebody you're interested in, soften the demeanor a bit. All right? Soften your demeanor a bit. Put a smile on your face. And make sure that people see you talking and having a good time. Because if you're not doing that, a lot of times you're going to attract the people who just don't care. People who don't take cues. People who don't care if you don't seem like you want to talk to anybody. You ever notice that you might go somewhere and maybe say you don't want to talk to anybody? Maybe you being as standoffish, as cold-hearted as you possibly can. That's when you might get the attention from the most player type of dudes. Like, you're like, man, I know this dude's a player. And sometimes you get it from the worst type of guys too. Like guys that they be drunk, they be belligerent, they trying to grab. A lot of times you get that when you have more of a standoffish type of energy, because that repels everybody who would look for cues and only want to talk to a girl who is feeling them, but it brings on the attention of people who don't care one way or the other. What else we got? Hit me up. Make sure y'all getting these super chats. Now we're talking about this in the chat a little bit. Neglecting your social media, neglecting your networking time, getting out with your friends, getting out with family members, getting out with people. When you do this, it generally makes you desperate when you actually get a chance to interact with somebody. Even if your desperation shows itself in different ways. Look, just because somebody doesn't call you right away or doesn't make up the connection that you want in the way you want, and you respond to that by just like, oh, I'll never talk to you again, that doesn't mean that you're not desperate. That is a form of desperation. Not being able to let things roll off your shoulders is a form of desperation. Because if you were really cool with being single, like a lot of y'all saying you are, I'm cool with being single. I'm just not with the BS. I match energy. If you were really cool with being single, you wouldn't be on that type of time. If somebody called you 1 week and then called you 2 weeks later, if you thought the person was cool and you wanted to hang out, you would just go ahead and do it because you're cool with being single. You're not putting a lot on it. You don't care if it turns out to be a relationship. You don't care if they ever call you again. You're like, hey, I had a good time that day, so that's what's up. But most of y'all be lying to yourself and you're not cool being single. This is why you put so much on every situation, every encounter that you have with a person. If you go out on a date, it's got to be marriage or bust. They got to call you back 50,000 times. They got to call you right away, or you start getting antsy and getting angry, so you block them. That's desperation. And a lot of that comes from the fact that you're not getting outside victories. When I was playing basketball, back when I was younger, I used to be one of those people who would really just foul the hell out of people. I would foul the hell out of people, bro. Because I'd be on the court and I would get really mad. Because I just take the game really seriously. I'd be mad at my teammates. I'd be going in. One time this dude told me, he said, bro, you got to get some off the court victories. I was like, what? He was like, you got to get some off the court victories. You're taking this too seriously, man. And I realized that I was putting so much into that game that I really wasn't putting enough time into my regular life. I really wasn't doing things that made me feel like, hey, if the ball go out of bounds, it's no big deal. This is where neglecting things, like just interacting with people, even if it's on social media or going out and hanging out with your friends, this is where neglecting that type of stuff makes you desperate. It makes it far less likely that you'll be able to have a healthy interaction with anybody.
Girl, you gotta hold out for at least 90 days. And then he gonna snatch you up and marry you right away. I know that's what your mother did to me. The only girl I knew that was putting out was Mary Jane Robinson. Boy, and I couldn't get her because everybody was trying to smash that. So I went on ahead and settled down with your mother. And we've been happy ever since. You know, happy-ish. What's up? It's your man, Chazz Ellis. And I know you're tired of this old 1965 game that only works if you marry your high school sweetheart. So make sure you click the link below and check out my masterclass, How to Get Them to Chase You.